Folks, this video may not make sense because I haven't practiced it. Let me sit down for a second. Let me stand up for a second. Where's my notes? This is sort of a made-up scenario, just to try to express a question. Don't mean nothing. I watched a lot of archaeology videos, all the time. Anything new comes up, I'm watching it. And, many of the, videos tells you exactly the techniques or the patterns that archaeologists use to test strata and age and all this kind of stuff. But unless, no, that's not what I mean. And what, okay, it's sort of like, let me get back to the world. They dig, and sometimes some of these digs is 5 years because they find something really cool. And there's a certain amount of money used and involved in this project. And, but they save every stone from the different, whatever, and then they, I don't know where they go, but ones like this one, for instance, if this was, come out of the side of that, and that's what was there, then the people would just, pick through there and get the ones that, like that, and they would think, cool, and then they would study it and date it and blah, 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 and base a lot of information on just one kind of tool. And these other rocks, they might go somewhere, but they're not important enough to worry about. But the thing is, how far will a stone move? Okay, we got these folks up here that's doing all this really technical stuff. And these digs are usually right beside a creek because they find habitation is very common by an old waterway or whatever. But it's these stones, like those. And the question is, how far will a stone move? Now, I lived by a creek that flooded a couple times a year. Really high flooded, got all the way up under the bridge. I lived by that creek all the time I was a kid. I knew the stones. And stones even that size, after this flooded through there, they didn't move very far. They really didn't. Ones like this could easily move because the water flips them like a leaf. They go down the hill, creek. And, but most stones don't get too far from where they were. So the stones in this creek can't go through all this method of the way they do it, and all, because they're just what they call surface finds or whatever. But like I said, these stones didn't move that far. So if you had a bird's eye view at this area, let's say a mile circle, the stones within that creek, within that mile, they don't go very far. The larger stones, they sink, or not sink, but they just get covered up with smaller stuff, sand, dirt, and then you have layers. Even in this creek, straight down, there's layers. And why not hire a bunch of country girls and boys to pick up the art in the creeks? Well, the reason I think that that's not happening is because there's folks not, the big wheels, they're not seeing the art in these stones. They've already designated this as their day's treasures. So the only real way that archaeology will change and get some of us folks that don't have a college degree and all that kind of junk about archaeology, because there's different studies and everything. So all of these stones could be in some warehouse or something and dated, and they come from there, and and all that, without these folks even noticing that there's an immense amount of stories in these stones that looks like just an ordinary stone. And I think it will happen. I think eventually what we're doing is gonna be recognized. I don't know how it's going to happen, but it will. But it has a lot to do with being able to see the art. And if you can't see the art in these stones, then they just get put in a box and shoved away and forgotten about. And I sort of think that the key to recognizing these pieces of art is to recognize the tool use. Scraper, cutter, hammerstone, whatever, you have to recognize the tool use. And for the images, you definitely have to find the eyes, so you can get a vision of what the head looks like of whatever animal they visualized in there. But many of these patterns, these animals, birds, whatever, they're repeated over and over again on certain types of stones that was broken in a certain way. And I really don't know what I'm trying to say, but until the images are recognized academically, and folks, we're just shouting down a well. But I think it'll come about. I do. I'm not running down these. I think they're cool. I haven't found that many of these kind of things up here on the hill, but probably 30 or 40. But I don't think these tell as much story as these do.